Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack number 23. This is day 10, part 2. My name is Molly. I'm with my mom.
Hi, I'm Mom.
Otherwise known as
Maria.
Okay, thank you.
For anybody who's never been here before.
Right.
Yes.
So, Mom, this is it. This is the last day.
I know. This was a big project.
It's huge. And this is actually our last video in the lesson. And this video is really designed to show you how to go back in and add what we call love to our Zentangle artwork. A little bit of shading, a little tweaking, and all that
Second thoughting.
Yeah. So we're going to use our black pens and our pencils here. And as you can see, we're getting started here by just kind of going back in and...
What size pen is that one?
That's the 05.
Okay.
Yeah, good point. And really that was the pen we used the most in this project. That was sort of like the baseline. And then we went back in to do detailed stuff or more inking in. But I feel like the 05 was a good choice because the 01's really too small to do a project of this size. So just really outlining it, but I always get this from you, Mom, like I'm not just outlining it, I'm like kind of like going back in and like paying attention to what's there.
Right. So what she was doing, if you watch really, she wasn't going according to the line. She was going according to the tangles on the line so that you have sort of an erratic, also subtly erratic line that goes and follows the tangles, and that will give you a realistic, interesting, energized border, and it just does, and it's part of what we try to embrace in Zentangle.
Yeah, and I think it really makes it look unique and beautiful. And I'm also going back in and adding like a little bit of ink here, a little weighting there. I did re-outline the Q because this particular letter is the oddity. It was the one that went outside the box. Every other one didn't. And so we're playing around with how am I going to make it float above that background border. So that's kind of fun. And just like retracing some of those lines we've already done, adding a little weight here and there, a little interest, you know. I love that background, by the way, Mom. It came out really pretty.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Just kind of taking my time, turning the tile this way and that, sort of trying to figure out, you know, where do I need a little more emphasis here? Can I clean up my strokes there?
Oh, you're going around the gold.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference. It pops the gold, I think, you know. And your stroke almost like, it goes easy. I think because the gold like lifts up a little bit, so the pen does a good job of just very easily following along. And you can go over a line multiple times to kind of tweak it.
Yeah, check out the rounding there. I can't say that enough. I use rounding so much, and it just adds strength to the composition.
Definitely. And if you go into the gold a little bit, you can kind of retrace the line, give it a little bit more shape. So it's coming together. Even just what we've done so far has pulled that letter together, making it pop. I love that aura that you put around there. I think that made it too. It sort of separates it from the pattern. And
yeah, because there's a lot going on there.
Right.
And
there's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah, isn't it wonderful?
It's really special. I kind of love it. It's quite special. So again, another little layer of outlining here to try to pull that blue border together.
The blue border was so pretty. It's almost like a marbling that it really didn't even need any tangles on top of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice part of working on a large composition to like decide where you want to put tangles or not, and how does that emphasize or sort of help the rest of the composition. So I think this little breathing room space makes those other tangles around it really kind of pop. Kind of just going around all of these penciled in borders and giving them shape. And by waiting till the last step to do this, any tangles that went over it, you can create really cool layering. So instead, we could have done this the first step, but we would have ended up with like more of a coloring book-esque look.
Right.
And by waiting, you get to play around with some really neat layering. And you know what? You do a little, see how I, did a little misstep there. So I just inked it in. I played around with that kind of really human stroke. Even drawing right where this tipple is to kind of give it shape.
And it brings it forward too. It brings the Q square forward.
Doing this also really cleans up your work because you've added so much shading and done all that kind of stuff. It really is an opportunity. Oh, what is this?
What did you do? You did a border?
I forgot I did this.
Oh, I like that. It's like
adding a little bit of striping here. I think what it was is we had all these borders and one of them needed something else. So here's an option, right? You guys don't have to do that. But a really simple stripe is nice. Maybe you do 2 fat stripes and a thin stripe. Think about,
it almost looks like sewing, like a what do you call it? Like an embroidery stitch.
Right, yeah. So just taking your time and cleaning up all of these leftover borders.
Analyzing your own artwork, which,
exactly.
Our artwork cannot possibly look like yours. We've done so many different things.
It will not.
That it's going to be very unique,
Yep.
which is just what we wanted.
Yeah.
And in guiding you along, well, here's a suggestion. How about do this? But you could just as well have done dude or
right. Doodah.
Doodah.
Right.
Doodah.
Yeah. I know. Oh, that would be really good.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that would be sort of my next one. I'm doodahding.
Yeah, doodahding. The night away. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, just sculpting these little bits and sort of like seeing how these borders aren't perfect. They have little interests to them. Oh, that looks good already.
Yeah.
We haven't even shaded yet. I love that. Yeah, I think adding that border is nice because it's punchy, like it really pops.
Oh, and you ordered another one.
Yes, yeah, a little bit of tipple here. Just taking my time. This takes a little while, so just know that if you decide to put this here, you're gonna have a little zone out or zen out for the time. Just taking my time, having each one really nestle together.
And you see by Molly starting at the top and not going all the way around, it's making that orb kind of tuck into the one next to it.
Yep. Oh, there we go. That's nice. I love that. Really beautiful.
And
hit that last border. Yeah. Well, because if you can see it, it needs shape. It's looking a little, like it looks unfinished to me. So it's like going back in and just kind of bringing shape to it. Look at that, maybe redefining the line, taking your time. Just looking at the difference between what's done and not done, you can see how it really pulls it together.
This is where you really want to do this stuff because it feels good working on a picture that's that involved, and you just don't want to stop. You just don't want to stop.
And this step can take quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to take that time with your piece. You've put so much into it, and the difference of what your work looks like before and after adding this love and attention is really a big difference. It's just it's deserving of it, I would say, because I know that I did another Maria move here.
Look at that.
Put a little bump on there. Sort of preparing for a little shading bonus, I think.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
You never know when you need a shading bonus.
Shading bonus, yes. Yeah. So here's a good example of where we tangled over the border and now going back in and like emphasizing the border with ink allows us to play around with that layering.
So you have to stay focused when you're doing this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so now you see that border just slipping behind the fife, which is to me like, so I love that.
Yeah.
So fun. Little rounding, little darkness. There it goes, right behind. And just a minute to figure out where you are.
Yeah. You don't want to go so fast just to get it done. If that's what's happening in your mind, put your pen down and wait until you have time to really just enjoy this.
And I do really almost go over every line, I think, twice, because you're just sculpting and kind of weaving, adding a little bit of weight. And it's exciting to see how those borders come alive. A little bit of ink in the corners here and there. Coming together.
Looks great.
Right? Oh, I'm just so excited how it all came out. Now I'm beginning to work that outside of the whole entire thing. So just to really pull it together. So just revisiting it, maybe a little bit of weight here and there.
Oh, I had so much fun doing those.
I love that's like
dingbats.
so fun. Well, it's such a fun way to do it because you and I talked about the borders for a long. I feel like it was like hours where we were talking about what we were going to do.
What should we do?
When you ever came up with that idea, I was like, yes, I love it. And it's a great, like, I feel like inside of this piece, we have these kind of a string with things going in all different directions. And those borders really like kind of like have this more of an anchor feel to it. So,
okay, so onward to...
there was looking a little naked here around the Q, I think.
Yeah.
So, and you know what happens when I have a pencil, we can go a little intense.
Molly's the shading queen.
But
so with her graphite pencil...
This I took from you again, this lead of like actually almost like coloring in some of the petals instead of shading them. And
so every other one.
Yeah, I almost tried to find like when you did the Tangle, you had like, there was like initial petals and kind of just almost referencing so they are looking almost all gray. This is just one way to do this. So no, you don't have to do it this way, but I kind of liked it because it broke it up. It made it like...
Made it a little different, a little interesting.
Yeah, and it's almost like a complex shading approach because we're going to shade it again after this, but just starting by trying to find that first group of petals that you did.
Right. It reminded, once you did that, it reminded me of, what are those... flowers, the wildflowers that come out in the spring, that have those leaves like that. It just, what is it?
It's a flower. We'll grab it in a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they do look very floral. Yeah. I'm not very good with names of flowers. Sorry, I couldn't.
But it wasn't flower. It was the leaves on these.
Oh. All right. We'll get it in a second.
These flowers.
Well, it is very beautiful. So I think that alone really broke it up by just going in and like doing this sort of interesting approach to shading. And you had done it on a different one where you had actually done every other one. And I was going to do that. And I was like, oh, that's going to take forever. So
no,
let
it
me.
Didn't, yeah, it didn't. Yeah.
No, it wasn't too bad.
So here she is letting the mucas kind of come forward.
Yep.
By shading on either side of those stems of the mucas, it'll accentuate that that's what they are, that they go with the muca.
Yep. And I think these this idea of doing like layers of shading, so we're not just doing one type of shading. It's like first we're going to add our graphite to do this, then we're going to take a pause and add another layer to do. So now I'm going around and I'm shading around the Q.
Yep. So that'll make that pop out.
Yeah. And I kind of took it up a notch. This is much darker than the last two bits of graphite I put down. Like almost want that to be black, black, black. Good idea getting the piece of paper here. You got to protect your work.
So what this is doing now, it almost gives the interior of the Q, it makes it pop out like three-dimensional.
Yep.
Like she went in the back and pressed it out.
Yeah. And I think it's important to be very thoughtful about not blending it too much because you want to hang on to those white bits. So enjoy the dark, but make sure that see how I'm really trying to pay attention to not lose those bits of white. And this, I just actually softened it a little bit with my finger because sometimes you just need a even softer.
Than the tortillon.
Yeah.
Right?
And look at the difference between the inside and the outside.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Take your time. You know, Molly's so fast at it, but you can take your time.
Says who?
Says the one.
For some reason, I think on camera it appears fast too. Like the camera, I don't know why it seems to go faster.
Yeah. But Molly actually spent a lot of time analyzing this before you sat down and you know, what am I going to add to this, and where does it need to come alive?
And with any of these videos, we do a lot of times encourage you to maybe watch it through and then go back and maybe watch it again as you go through your own piece, or be like, okay, I got that. I'm going to go work on my own piece. At this point in time, like Mom said, your work has taken a very different direction. So you're probably watching what we're doing and then making decisions that apply to your work. So this is cool because you did a little outside, so we're able to really play around
focus
with
on that and make it look like it was an escapee.
Yes. And this was cool because I'm slowly working with this cue going over, and it's coming alive more and more, each little thing I do. And I think you just have to be patient with trusting that that's going to happen as you add your bits. So when we first put that cue over it, Mom, it looked like it was translucently, and you could see that border, and it's actually going away. It's floating right up above it.
It does.
Just taking my time. Definitely using that external piece of paper now to protect my work because
it's graphite everywhere.
A lot.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot. Switching to the white chalk. Here's a little fun move. Look at this. The final kind of little touch, that nice sharp chalk to pop that right off the page. Cool, right? Mm-hmm. And we weren't working with a jelly roll here, but like at this point in time, you may decide to add in some other pens that you have on hand, and then just taking the pen again, cleaning that up. Look at that. Pops right off the page. So that's a fun one. And like we said, we purposely used the cue so that we could show you if you had a letter that did something unusual like this.
So you want to test your gold pen on a piece of paper first. Trust me on this. Trust it until it's just flowing out.
Yeah, you want to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And then let it dry. It takes, especially on the black like this, it's going to take a while to dry.
And if anybody ends up with a really exciting big puddle of gold on your piece, just don't touch it. Just don't touch it and let it dry, and it's going to be the most magical thing ever, I think,
right.
Mom.
You'll go back and figure out what to do with that. And
yeah.
It'll be it'll be a story in and of itself.
I can't wait for the first person to be like, I did it on purpose.
Oh.
So I love that little bit with the dots on there. That actually is very fun. Oh, this might take a while.
Yeah.
But you can, yeah.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. You could have left them white, but it is, I think it looks quite beautiful. And as you can see, I'm filling them in, but I'm not worried about filling them all the way in.
Right.
Just going back in, adding a little bit of shading in little other parts. Maybe on the, where the borders overlap. I think that's kind of fun. So just seeing like how to add a little bit, each one kind of above the others.
These are all subtle little tiny things that will come together and make your thing look,
Oh, yeah.
oh, there's the one. Like, see, you just...
So that little
yeah.
frondus was popping through, so we did a little...
magic there.
A little bit, sort of using the same idea as a tucker.
Yep.
And you may have some really fun bits here and there. So it's interesting because we didn't, we're using a white paper, but because we added the color and we've added so much, the white charcoal does actually have a lot of influence on the piece itself.
Look at that.
Look at that muka popping up over there. That's fun. Oh, Mom, what a great project.
Yeah.
So join us for the wrap up video, which will kind of go over all these beautiful pieces, but enjoy this time of adding love because it's going to really make a difference in your work. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure always. And have fun, everybody.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.